Hi, this is Adam. Welcome to the Athlete's Pursuit of Excellence training vlog number 16. This week, the vlog will be divided into three parts that will help you be the best athlete you can possibly be. In the first part, we'll analyze my physical training. This week, we'll look together at how I made the transition between a 7 days training camp with Elevate Webiplex Pro Cycling to my first UCI race of the year in Taiwan. Then I'm going to describe the strength training exercise of the week. This week, we'll analyze a mobility exercise, which is a truck rotation and a flexion. Finally, we will switch to the mental training. This week, we're going to look together at my 6 favorite lesson from Scott Adams' books, How to Fail in Almost Everything and Still Win Big. This analysis of the book will help us improve our performance on the bike and in life in general. So just before we start, if you want to take your personal performance level on the bike and off the bike to the next level by improving your training, uh, your nutrition, your recovery, I have a few places left in private coaching. You can email me if you're interested. On the detail or on my Patreon. Also, if you like the content, don't hesitate to share with other athletes, to comment, to like, and to subscribe. It's always nice to realize the appreciation. So now let's start right away. So for physical training, this week we are going to look together at how I made the transition between a 7 day training camp, which was a very physically demanding camp, to my first UCI race of the year in Taiwan. So to start the analysis, Wednesday the 12th was my last day of training camp with Elevate Webiplex Pro Cycling. So from Thursday, I took a 3 day of active recovery, so without any particular constraint. From a training point of view, I don't have much to say. I either rode relax below 200 watts or I took a day off. I really use those days to increase the intensity of my recovery, so to prioritize a quality stretching session, quality foam roller session, and making sure I got some good night of sleep. So I resume structure training on the 16th. So I resume it with a 4 hour exploration ride on some perfectly conditioned dirt road with a breathtaking view. It was just an amazing ride. So I finished the workout with just a little intensity, so 5 times 2 minutes best average. It was just on the road on my way back to get back the intensity sensation a little bit. So Monday, I started the week with a circuit training on the Anaheim's Hill. So I started the workout with a 1 hour at 70%, so around 300 watts, and I followed this long intensity by a 5 times 5 minutes best average. So for me, the 5 minutes were around 420 and 430 watts, and it was also on climbing. So Thursday, I moved to Yucaipa, north just north of Redlands. So I did a long relaxed ride of just over 4 hours to Onyx Peak. Onyx Peak is at an altitude of 2,600 meters. Honestly, it's just one of my favorite cycling peaks. So Wednesday, I did a specific time trial workout on a technical circuit. So 8 times 4 minutes with a really short rest of 2 minutes between each 4 minutes. I did the interval on a fairly technical circuit with a lot of turn to get used to maintaining a high power average despite the frequent stop in pedaling. So Thursday, I did the last real training of the block with a 111 kilometer ride. Again, I did an hour at 70% on a circuit in the beautiful area of Sunset where we raced the Redland Classic. And I followed this by a 3 times 10 minutes uphill at the end of the 4 hour. So from Friday to the day of the travel, so for 4 day, I took it quite easy. So I did some short ride between 1 hour and 2 hours 30 at a relatively low general intensity, but with really like short set of high intensity intervals to keep the racing leg and the speed in the leg. So for the 12 day of transition between the training camp and the start of the trip to Taiwan, give me a training load of 1,087 TSS and a total of just over 29 hours. So for now, um, so to switch to the strength training exercise, this week we will analyze together a mobility exercise. The exercise is a rotation of the trunk followed by a flexion of the trunk. So to do the exercise, we start by sitting on our knees and make sure to have our spine straight so that our pelvis, our shoulder, and our head are like in a straight line. After that, we do the trunk rotations. So once the rotation is made, we do the flexion. So the goal is really to do the movement 3 times and gain amplitude with each repetition before we change side and do it on the other side. Optimally, each movement or rotation and flexion should be synchronized with an expiration, while the return to normal should be synchronized with an inspiration. So this is an exercise that will like really help us as cyclists to be able to use the maximal volume of our rib cage. Personally, I make sure to do the exercise every morning before my workout because it really allow me to have an easier time breathing on the bike. And honestly, it's really an exercise that it's really easy to ignore because it's super simple, it's super short, but you shouldn't ignore it because it's really helpful. So finally, for the mental training of the week, we'll analyze the book "How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big" by Scott Adams. So the first idea of the book is to replace our result-oriented goal by process-oriented goal. So we must understand that result-oriented goals are only continuous failure that will make maybe in the best case, absolute best case scenario, in the end come to life. Process-oriented goal, in the other hand, allow us to succeed every time we execute the process accordingly. So because we control all the variable, we have much more power on the process goal. So our mission then is to use those process goals to build enough trust in what we are doing to come at a point where we know that placing our focus on what we must do right now is the only thing that matters because external rewards are most likely to happen if we do just that anyway. So the second idea is to understand that greatness comes with a high price tag and that this amount is primarily paid in hard choices. So that brings to my mind GSP, Georges St-Pierre, arguably the greatest UFC fighter of all time. So once Georges St-Pierre decided he wanted to be the best in the world, he also decided he was willing to pay the enormous price to do it. So we gotta accept the trade-off. So the third idea is to match our mental states, with the activity. So knowing ourselves enough to understand that um, the right state of mind we need to be in order to perform at our best, and then doing the effort to place the right discipline in place so we are able to reach that state of mind when it's time to perform. The fourth idea is to simplify our routine, so to eliminate choice and know in advance what we are going to do today, tomorrow, the day after, next month. So we need to understand that too many options, not knowing what we're gonna do, it frees action, it increases self-doubt, and it also demands a lot of energy. So we don't want to do that. We want to have a plan, and we want to execute that plan and know what we are doing next. So the fifth idea is to remember that our ability to choose our attitude is a superpower. So Scott Adams, he tells us, so I quote Scott Adams, positivity is far more than a mental preference. It changes your brain, literally, and it changes the people around you. It's the nearest thing we have to magic. So the last idea is to realize that someone needs to be the greatest in the world. So I ask you this question: why not you? So I know it's a hard question, and I also ask this question to myself a lot of time, and it's easy to come up with a lot of reasons why not you, but why not you? So we must always remember that if we have high objective, the people around us will view us as crazy until they view us as genius. So if your expectations are super high, be prepared to be seen as crazy for a really long time. So that's it for this week. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you learned something that will help you in your development. If you appreciate the content, don't hesitate to share it with other athletes. And as always, please leave a like, a comment. It's always very great and a pleasure to see the appreciation. So I'm hoping to see you in the next week for vlog number 17. And in the meantime, I wish you a good week of training. Bye bye.